Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. Now, for quite some time, a fight has been raging about a new divorce bill that is being considered. And what exactly should there be in it and what shouldn't there be? Now, it's been a subject of discussion for a while. Some clauses in particular are proving really contentious. So let's use this occasion to look at what we think a new bill should have. What are the problems and the key issues around divorce in India? And what are the best measures and the best way forward to fix those specific issues. It's great to have joining us on the program Karuna Nandi, who's an advocate in the Supreme Court, but also an attorney in American court in New York. So as a result, you can perhaps shed light on what happens in other countries as well. Indu Agnihotri, chairperson of the Center for Women Development Studies. Judy Balance, author, who's author of Two Fates, The Story of My Divorce, and also Sophie, another one which has just come out right now. All the best, and we're waiting to see how that particular book also does. Swaroop Sarkar is the founder of the Save Family Foundation, who's been really exercised about some of the laws, not just the divorce bill, but other laws that are around here. Joining us from Mumbai, Alec Padamsee, who's a communications specialist in theatre and advertising. Alec, a pleasure as always to have you with us. Suchitra Krishnamurthy, actor, singer, great Suchitra that you could be with us as well. And Rinki Bhattacharya, writer, columnist, filmmaker. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Now, Karuna, why don't I start off with you? There is a bill that is being under discussion. So the effort is to change what divorce law should be. Some of the clauses around this bill have created a lot of a stir, especially some provisions which are, for example, saying that if there's a divorce, then potentially or theoretically it's possible that the wife can get a large share or 50% share, not just of what happened during the marriage, but the ancestral property as well of the man. Now, there are various drafts, various versions going around, but things like this have led to a lot of discord.
The latest draft that I've seen seems to indicate that the judge can include properties that are not just acquired during the course of the marriage, but also inherited properties. It just gives the judge an additional discretion. So it's really quite vague, right? At the same time, I think what they're trying to address in this change in law is also very important, which is, I think it's said that the Aam Aadmi in India is actually a woman. And this, I think, is true. Poverty is overwhelmingly female. Only 9% of...
Is that really the case?
Yes, absolutely.
Why would you say that necessarily? I know that
No,
on certain parameters, like
Yes.
malnutrition and all that,
Yes.
there's a massive gender bias. But to say
Yes.
poverty itself is gender specific.
Well, give me any indicator for poverty.
The amount of household wealth you have is one possibility. The amount you're eating, okay, nourishment, I get what you're
Nourishment.
saying. Health, I get perhaps what you're saying.
Income.
Okay.
Income in proportion to work, decision over income, healthcare. You take any parameter and you will find that women do much worse, quite apart from the
Worse,
fact...
but it's not to say that men don't necessarily do badly. So there's one thing to say that women could be
Of course.
worse than men are, but to say that poverty itself is gender specific, maybe pushing it.
Poverty of women is much greater than poverty of men, even though there is extreme poverty of both genders, and that needs to be, there's no doubt about that, right?
We're getting digressing into a separate big fight. Let's come back to divorce.
Divorce plunges women into the kind of poverty that they do not face when they're married.
Alec, if I can just turn to you, does divorce largely affect the woman more?
Obviously, if the man is the earner in the family and the wife is not. My first wife, Pearl, was not an earner. She used to do a little bit of teaching of drama in schools. So obviously, when we separated, I, gave her alimony, and and I gave her the flat. That was our joint flat, but I said, no, you have it, and I'll find some other accommodation. With Dolly, it was different. She had a flat, and we parted on sort of different terms, but I've tried to support her as best as possible over the years. And, when you get divorced, you don't have to be an enemy. That is what I'm saying. It's a very bad attitude in India, and I think it's up to the husbands to reach out a helping hand to the ex-wife. And even Sharon today and I are the best of friends. We live in separate houses. And of course, my children, one by Pearl, one by Dolly, and one by Sharon, all live with their mothers. And I said, yes, that's the way. I have visiting rights, but I don't need that because they drop in anytime they like. I drop in. It's the new kind of joint family where we have three
Okay.
mothers of my children, and this is the way it should go. Divorce has not got to be a kind of lacerating, horrible kind of thing. And for that, I'd just like to say, Vikram, while I've got a chance, I am working on a book in which the principal thing is we should not have the marriages in the way they are, which is till death do us part, but marriage license, like a driving license, which expires after 5 years if both the parties decide that they don't want to continue, or even one of them. This way, it gives you a chance to reassess your marriage in the 4th year, decide whether you want to go on with it or let it lapse.
Okay, fine.
And you sign a prenuptial in the beginning so that it decides who gets the children, who gets what kind of division of the money and the properties. And that's all sorted out before you get married.
Fine. Rinki Bhattacharya, let me turn to you because you didn't have the sort of an experience that Alec is talking about. It was a bitter experience, and in some ways it replicated what Karuna was talking about.
My own experience, yes, it was. But let me go beyond my experience. I mean, divorce turns most men very bitter, much more than the woman. And I would say, women delay and resist divorce because for two very important reasons. One is the children, custody of children. They fear losing them, and of course, primarily money. Women are worst hit by poverty, and post-divorce trauma includes that state of poverty. They are driven below the poverty line. How many women have control over their own income, or if they are deprived of their husband's income, they continue to be in a very, very bad and traumatic, dangerous relationship.